Here we go. Nate says SMU looks good. SMU does look good. But it seems like that, I mean, come on. They're not making the playoffs. So it has records based. And I was talking yesterday or whenever it was with Slim Shady Canes. He came on here and said undefeated Wake Forest is an automatic bid. Why would you not put them in? Well, I mean, would you take them over an undefeated Cincinnati? Really? Would you? Or let's say Oklahoma does finish undefeated. Would you leave them out? We could have, you know what we could have, honestly? We could. Well, hold on. I guess, yeah, we could, first off, have 4 undefeated teams get in, but we could have 4 undefeated conference champions. Hear me out. Let's say Georgia doesn't lose. They win the SEC, beat Alabama or Auburn, whoever it might be out of the West. Georgia's undefeated. Let's say Michigan State runs the table, finishes undefeated. Let's say Oklahoma is undefeated. And let's say Wake Forest is undefeated. You have an undefeated Wake Forest from the ACC. Say whatever you want about the schedule. You have an undefeated Oklahoma from the Big 12. You have an undefeated Georgia. And then where was I? Hold on. Undefeated Georgia, undefeated Oklahoma. Let's say undefeated Wake Forest. Let's say undefeated Michigan State. Or an undefeated Cincinnati. I just named you at least 5 undefeated champions. One of them getting left out that could be in. Like, honestly, you know, and I don't think we've had this yet. I don't think we've had a year where all 4 teams were undefeated. We've had a year with 2 at the very least. Actually, the most we've had is 3. Because remember, Notre Dame had to run the table, go undefeated, and they got in. That was the year Clemson blew out Alabama for a matchup for the first 15-0 team in at least modern history. Let me double check. College football playoff. Let's double check the semis because I don't think that we've had 4 full undefeated teams. I really don't. Here we go. Nate says SMU looks good. SMU does look good. But it seems like that, I mean, come on. They're not making the playoffs. You had all one-loss teams in 2017. You had 3 undefeated teams in 2018. You had, again, 3 undefeated teams in 2019, but Oklahoma did take a loss. I'm trying to remember who they lost to in 2019. Anyway, and then last year, you had a 10-1 Clemson, a 10-1 Notre Dame, but then you had at least 2 undefeated teams with Alabama and Ohio State, and we know about the national title and what Alabama did last year. So we really haven't had a full-on semifinal or playoff where all 4 teams were undefeated. Could we get 4 undefeated teams this year in the college football playoff? I think we can. I'm not going to bet on it. But first off, teams have to play teams. You know, like, okay, Wake Forest will have to play Clemson. Clemson is down, but they're looking okay. Michigan State beat Michigan, but they got to go play Ohio State. I think this weekend. Cincinnati, 8-0. They probably, of all these teams, have the best chance to finish undefeated, get in. Georgia, they got to beat Alabama or Auburn or whoever. I'm just being realistic. I think Georgia is still the best team in the SEC, probably the best in the country. It's their year. I've been saying it all along. I think they're going to do it. Georgia's undefeated, Michigan State, Cincinnati. You have Oklahoma in the Big 12, Wake Forest in the ACC. You know, you could get 4 undefeated teams if you get 4 undefeated teams, it's a guarantee we're getting a 15-0 champion once again. But yeah, I mean, could we get 4 in? Georgia, Michigan State, Cincinnati, Oklahoma. You can have that. Wake Forest, and again, they're not bad, but the ACC compared to the other conferences is down. And it's really not that good. And that's not, that's not really so much of an issue for Wake, but I mean, seriously. I mentioned you got 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are undefeated right now. You need 4. You're not getting all of those in. First off, and I don't think any of these teams actually have to play each other, at least on the schedule. I'm pretty sure all of these undefeated teams have already met their match. I mean, you had an undefeated game with Michigan State. You had one with Oregon, Ohio State. They were undefeated like around week 3. And Oregon, of course, giving Ohio State their only loss, at least thus far. Alabama's loss was A&M. But look, we could be set up. I think we're definitely going to get 4 really good teams in the college football playoff. That's a given. We're going to get the 4 best teams. And I don't think that there's really a clear cut, okay, this is who needs to be in, this is who needs to be in. Honestly, just giving props out, I really think that it's Georgia and the rest of college football right now. Georgia is the clear-cut team. They got the best defense in the country. Not the best offense, but I'm telling you that defense is carrying the team. And the offense, even with Stetson out there, he's looking pretty great. Whether it's him or JT, I think they got a leader at quarterback that could win big-time football games. It starts with Georgia, which they have to beat Alabama or Auburn, whoever it is. And I think they could. I mean, Wake Forest is literally playing Notre Dame right now. Think about it. Because you got all these other teams, and you're sitting there saying, we cannot lose if we want to make the playoffs. But also, it's like, if you lose, you're definitely not going to make it in. But if you win out, and you're 12-0, 13-0, technically, if you win the ACC, you have a higher chance to get in, but it's still probably not going to happen because of the Big 12, the SEC, the Cincinnati, and the Big 10, right? But 4 undefeated teams in the playoffs, I could definitely see happening. It's just a matter of which of those undefeated teams on there are getting it. Is Oklahoma the team out of the Big 12? Could they be undefeated? I think they will be. I don't think Oklahoma's really going to lose to anybody. They've had some close games. They've had some toughness in a tough road, but I think they could pull it off. I think Georgia's going to win the rest of their schedule. They might even win the SEC. Michigan State out of the Big Ten, that's a big question. They could drop a game. I mentioned they go to Columbus, they go play Ohio State. That's tough. But they could pull it out. And they could be undefeated. Again, a lot of football left to be played. Again, I mentioned Cincinnati. The 4 undefeated teams in the playoff, it could happen. It's going to be hard to do, but it wouldn't surprise me all that much if we had undefeated playoffs and ultimately an undefeated champion.